Let's start the show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Triangle Defense Podcast. I'm your host, Alex Ortega.
I'm your host, Jonathan King.
And we are back this week with some more NBA news. And we're going to do things a little different on today's episode. Usually, we have a little bit of an intro topic and all that, but I think we're going to go right into our three-pointers. And there's a decent bit to talk about, so we might as well just get right into it.
And that's great because I'm brain dead right now. I can't think of a single intro topic. So
exactly. But what do you got for your first three-pointer then, John? And if you guys don't know by now, the three-pointers are every episode, me and John take three different topics from the week throughout the NBA, and we come and we discuss them. So what do you got for me today, John?
Yeah, so the Clippers aren't dead yet. They're on a 7-win streak. They play right as we're recording this, and they're losing. But they're on a 7-game win streak, and they're 8-4. That's good for tied for third before tiebreakers in the West. The Clippers,
And Eric Bledsoe's kind of playing okay. I caught that in the last game. As well too, because they blew the Trailblazers out. I watched a little bit of that, and there's a lot of guys. I mean, Zubats has actually been pretty good for them. Isaiah Hartenstein has been solid defensively for them as well too.
Played minutes for them, It goes to show you, just keep proving to people that Tyronn Lue wasn't just a product of LeBron. He was very much a competent coach. It's funny how his career started. He got replaced. He replaced David Blatt midseason for the 2015 Cavs as a head coach. I think that was his first head coaching gig, and everyone was, what are they doing? Who is this guy? This step over me?
Yeah, that's what everyone knew him as.
I was skeptical at first because the circumstances were weird, but I think at this point he's proven to be maybe a top 10 coach, pretty much in the league. Sort of closer to 10.
Yeah, I would say that. I think he's a better X's and O's guy than people give him credit for, because a lot of people think he's just a guy's guy, and that he's just like a player coach
motivator
type
guy.
thing. But no, he's a better X's and O's guy than people think. I mean, and he's showing it with this team. I mean, he doesn't have a ton to work with there, but the fact that they're on a 7-game win streak, and
they got some talent, but again, you lose not only Kawhi Leonard, but your number one scoring option, your best defensive player. Even recovering from losing your number one scoring option you change the whole offense.
Exactly.
And he saw this coming from the offseason, I assume, because it was, it was known that he would miss the whole season. But that's not easy for a team to change their offense from, instead of deferring to Kawhi or PG right away, they're deferring to PG, and then they're looking to get other guys involved, like Reggie Jackson or Luke Kennard has to step up, or man has been pretty good. Exactly. And but I mean, this is what they were like before they landed Kawhi. They had Gallo and Lou Will, and they made the 8th seed. They were just scrappy.
Very scrappy. They took 2 games from the KD Warriors.
With KD playing, and so they're out there. But where do you think they finish, if you had to say?
Honestly, this team is. I mean, we very much counted them out after the first week of games, but
for the most part,
I don't see why they couldn't. Because preseason prediction, I believe I had them as either my 7th or 8th seed.
And I think I had them in 10 or 11 range.
Yeah, maybe. I think so. And honestly, I think I still feel okay with putting them anywhere between 6 and 8.
Yeah.
To where I mean, a team like the Pelicans. I had the Pelicans, getting in the play-in game, and that's not really happening. I had the Kings competing for that spot as well too, and I don't.
2-12 Pelicans.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're terrible. That's a story for another topic, though. Yeah, the Clippers. I mean, what else is there to really say? Again, it is pretty early, but yeah, I think they make the play-in.
Yeah,
at the very least.
Like I said, I mean, I'm cool with putting them between the 6 and 8 seed, and they'll be a dangerous play-in team too. To where I could
Kawhi
see them
comes back,
a series, but yeah, exactly. If once they get Kawhi back, because he's very much a guy to where you can plug him in and he's
Yeah.
things are going to run through him, and I wouldn't be too worried. So they could be a serious threat as a play-in game. Like if they're playing a team like I don't know, maybe like a Dallas or like a
Denver,
Portland or Denver or
maybe.
something like that.
Yeah.
They could give those teams trouble. I mean, I would with Kawhi back. I mean, I would probably have them beating Dallas again for like a third year in a row.
I mean, if Kawhi was healthy this whole season and they had the year to sort of build chemistry and have their actual team, I probably would have put them as the favorites in the West.
Right. Yeah.
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 Like
Exactly.
they're that good when Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are both on.
So if they can still like kind of scrap together, like I said, getting like a 6 seed or something like that, and then getting Kawhi back, maybe getting him back in April or something, or before the playoffs starts. I think they could be a dangerous team moving forward, but they just have to keep up this level of play and, like I said, not put themselves in a terrible position come playing playoff time.
Did you see they paid a fan $10,000 for showing up early to a game? Like some random, just like it was like it wasn't even a raffle. They just like sat down in their seat and got presented with like a random like $10,000 check. Dude, it was like Steve Ballmer's doling out the bag.
Right, what?
For the 5 Clippers. Well, to be fair, the Clippers, there's like 5 Clippers fans, so it's like Clipper Daryl, whatever like D-list celebrity actor.
What's his name? From Malcolm in the Middle.
Frankie Muniz?
Yeah, Frankie
Muniz. He's
a
Clippers fan?
Yeah, he's a diehard Clippers fan.
What? I was wondering if there is such a thing as like, because every celebrity, every actor is a Lakers fan, and they say all the time. It's like a rite of passage in Hollywood, but like Clippers, like there's no celebrity.
I'll explain. So there's a few, because I remember looking this up because I was like, are there any celebrity Clipper fans? So Frankie Muniz, he said he would play NBA Live, and he would use the Clippers, and he just became a Clippers fan. And when he lived in LA for like shooting Malcolm in the Middle, he would go to Clippers games like all the time. Like you can look it up. Like there's like pictures of Frankie Muniz as a kid. Like
Clippers, they were probably dirt cheap because that when they were filming Malcolm in the Middle, it was like a Michael Aloha Candy played for them, and so like they're just dog shit.
Well, because like that was like early 2000s to where he was watching like those teams like were fun. Those were like the Knucklehead.
Darius Miles, Lamar Odom, Elton Brand, Corey Maggette, I think, for a little bit.
Quentin Richardson. No, that was pre Chris Kaman.
Yeah, Chris Kaman came later 06, 05 maybe.
Other celebrity Clipper fans. The main dude from Workaholics.
They're kind of all the main dude. I know Blake from Workaholics with the hair is a Warriors fan. And then there's Adam Devine, who's from Nebraska.
Yeah, Adam Devine.
Adam Devine. Okay.
Yeah, because he said, so he said when he moved to LA to pursue acting, he couldn't afford Lakers tickets, so he said he would just go to Clippers games.
I think Bill Simmons has season tickets to the Clippers. Funny enough.
Interesting.
Because he lives in LA now, I think, because he's like actually really rich because he sold the Ringer for like $200 million or something.
Jeez.
So so I think he has both Celtics and Clippers season tickets, and he just like flies to both of them or whatever. Yeah.
And then last celebrity Clipper fan before we get into the next topic, Vince Staples.
I could see it.
So
that's the only one that I could see.
His story. So he's from Long Beach. So like he's from Southern California, and he said his mom worked for Toyota. And like whenever anybody at the location that she worked at would work overtime, they would give them not Lakers tickets, Clippers tickets. So he said he would just grow up, going to watch Clipper games to where it was like Corey Maggette, Darius Miles, Quentin Richardson. And I can imagine that being a lot of fun, as a kid watching that team. I mean, it was really exciting, high flying, all of that. So yeah, he said
his personality fits the Clippers though pretty well. That's the only one that actually like kind of makes sense. Where it's like, especially right now, they have this sort of tough, attitude that they want to set.
Exactly. Yeah. So that one actually, I was like, okay, I like that. I like him being a celebrity Clipper fan. But yeah, you also have Frankie Muniz and Adam Devine.
Adam Devine. Yeah, shout out Clippers fans.
Moving on to my first topic of the day here. I know you mentioning the 2-12 Pelicans and how they're a mess. We got an update on Zion's injury. Shams said that he was on Pat McAfee's show, and he said that Zion is not coming back anytime soon.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Like, there wasn't like a real timeline, but it makes me wonder if it's going to be a situation again where they don't want to play Zion. Like, Zion wants to get out there and they want to, not take the risk. And I mean, because the season's done. They're 2-12 right now. So unless they, turn and go 70-12 or whatever, but the season's over. And honestly, I don't know what the point would be getting Zion out there. So I don't know, because I know that kind of rubs Zion.
He can play basketball and isn't fat as fuck. I don't know.
I guess.
You want your number 1 overall pick from a few years ago to play basketball and be on the court,
right? But they know. But the thing is, they know he's good.
Trepidation.
And his extension is coming up this summer, to where he's gonna get the max. But there's been talks to where like a rookie has never turned down a rookie max extension before. And like people are saying like Zion could be the first, to where if, it seems a little unstable there. I mean, he's on his 3rd head coach in his 3rd season. If
David Griffin's an idiot. He's been one of the worst GMs.
If they're rubbing him the wrong way with the injury thing as well too, not playing him when he wants to get out there on the floor. Yeah. His family has come out to say that they want him out of there. He even said it himself. He loves playing in Madison Square Garden and
I'm sure he does.
So, I assume he probably comes back, but the Pelicans need to do something like soon.
Yeah. Well, and there's also a thing I should mention, this whole notion that like he doesn't want to play for the Pelicans, because he said stuff like that where he loves playing in the Garden and he loves the fans or whatever. But it's not like he's requested a trade.
Right.
And then it goes back to the whole thing. When he got drafted, before he got drafted, there was that whole push by national media outlets, ESPN, Sports Illustrated, to get Zion to New York or Chicago or Los Angeles. And it was kind of, I don't want to say sickening, because it's really not that serious, but like it was pretty weird to see. It was almost like they were disappointed to see him go to the Pelicans, because it means that he's in this sort of NBA wasteland and they can't hype him up if he was a Knick or a Laker.
I forgot what sports show I was listening to, but this was before the draft lottery, and he was like, if Zion goes to Memphis, he's like, I'm never watching basketball again. Yeah, like he was like, that'd be terrible.
And so it's you'll see these articles get promoted like hell if there's any dissenting opinion about Zion not wanting to leave New Orleans, or if there's any blurb, if New Orleans goes to Chicago and says, I like deep dish pizza, then there's going to be 1,000 ESPN articles saying like Zion wants out of New Orleans. He hates it.
Right.
He hates everything there. He hates the jerseys. He hates the stadium. So
exactly. But
just keep that in mind. But I think,
I think they need to definitely this summer I think Devonte Graham was their idea of like an aggressive move this summer, but this summer they need to, because I mean,
replacement.
They have a ton of picks from the Lakers. They have picks from the Bucks. They have all that stuff to where they should start, just start trading those picks away and start trying to be good now, or you are going to lose Zion.
Yeah, and it's not like their team's garbage. They have Brandon Ingram.
Right.
They have Jonas Valanciunas, who's
playing great. He's playing like a top 5 center.
Yeah, I mean, he's proven to be a really, really damn good player. He was like Memphis's 1B to Ja Morant.
Yeah, I know exactly. Before Ja took the leap, that he did this year,
Graham is all right.
Definitely.
Nikhil Alexander-Walker. Jackson Hayes is pretty good, even though the only thing I recognize him for is when he cried about not making. What was it? He said Rising Stars game.
Yeah, he didn't make the Rising Stars game.
He cried on an Instagram live about not making the Rising Stars game, and then called everyone he told everyone to suck his dick.
Yeah, he was like,
hilarious.
Suck my dick.
How fucking funny.
Yeah, Jesus. But they're gonna have to do something, because you don't want to risk losing Zion. You see what happens to teams, like Cleveland when LeBron left, or anything like that. I mean, you just don't want to risk it. And
I think it starts with management, just easiest fix. Like, I mean, that's what Cleveland literally did. They fired David Griffin and replaced him with Kobe Altman. And funny enough, here he is again. And Kobe Altman's been working out pretty damn all right. For Cleveland, but David Griffin has been working out really. None of his moves have been making a whole lot of sense. They extended Jonas Valanciunas before he even played a game for them. I don't know if you remember that earlier this season. Like, there's
risky move, which I don't think is a bad move looking at it now, but I mean, that's just unheard of. You just don't really do that.
A single game for the franchise. He gave him like a 2-year extension or 1-year extension on a 2-year deal or something like that. Just something weird. And it's moves that don't make sense. And he's got to be the favorite to be first GM fired, if that's even a prop at some sports books or whatever. But hasn't looked good for them.
He is terrible. But moving on to your second topic, what do you got for me, John?
Yeah, so Stephen Curry's looking like the MVP, right?
I think we've officially gotten to the point where we can talk about the MVP race.
The beginning of it, yeah. I wanted to mention Curry specifically because, I mean, he was incredible last year, but he sort of wasn't playing like himself. He had to score every basket, every possession, and he's like, it was probably like a dumb statement, but he's better when he has scoring pieces around him because he can't, he'll like tonight. So we're recording on a Sunday night, the 14th, and they just got beat by the Hornets in a game where he shot very poorly. Shot, I think, 7 of 22 from the field, with a couple turnovers and some bad defensive lapses I was watching. Yeah. And he'll have those nights. But other than that, when he's on, it's not just his shooting and scoring that matters. It's him getting teammates involved, his off-ball movement, all that good stuff.
Right, just the open space that everybody has to work with, just because of the gravity that Curry has. Like Wiggins played great tonight. Yeah. And a lot of that is due to, like you said, just having the open space to do what he does well. And if, like I said, I definitely think we're at the point where we can talk about MVP race and all of that. And I definitely probably do have Curry leading the race right now. I'd say right behind him are KD and Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, KD. We'll talk about him for my next topic. He'll tie in definitely, but he's been nuts. But Jokic has been statistically better than he was last season, and that's almost because he's now in the Curry position where Murray's out, Porter Jr. is playing like shit. Yeah. It's like him and Bones Highland getting it done, and Aaron Gordon. And Jokic has been statistically better than he was so far this season than he was last season in his MVP season. But it hasn't come. He has to do way too much, and he's a one-man army at most.
I can see that happening too as well. I mean, as long as the Nuggets keep winning, but at the turn of the millennium specifically, the voters have been very generous to two-time MVPs. So since the year 2000, we have had Tim Duncan repeat, Steve Nash repeat, LeBron repeat on 2 separate occasions, Steph repeat, Giannis repeat, and there's a possibility Jokic does this year too.
I'd say it's very slim, but who knows? I mean, the Nuggets are currently the 3rd seed. They're tied with Mavericks and the Clippers, and they have the tiebreaker according to NBA.com. But
But it'll be interesting with Curry too, because usually it doesn't happen to where when you win an MVP, you usually don't win one again a few years later. You're kind of established as that kind of because I mean, KD has 1 MVP to his name. Yeah. And there's a few seasons where he's put up similar numbers and he's been on winning teams like that. But once you establish
what were you gonna say?
Once you establish yourself as that kind of guy, it's just kind of expected. And then with Curry, it'll be because I think the last time we've seen anything like that would be Jordan won his first MVP in '87 and didn't win another one until '91. So I think that's probably the furthest gap we've ever gotten.
That's also Michael Jordan. Everything he did was not normal. So
right,
because he also had like 3 different primes basically.
Yeah.
Like the thing with the MVP award, and this has been debated ad nauseum, but like if you're talking about most valuable player, you could just give it to LeBron like 15 times in his career. Like if you're talking about like best player in the NBA, then LeBron should have like 14 or 15 MVPs.
Should have won it from 2007 to probably like 2018.
Like 2018, 2019. Yeah, I'd say like 2020 was the year that KD and Giannis sort of were on his level, and now they've surpassed him. But it was really recently. So, but it's not how it works. Obviously, we know that not only is there voter fatigue, so people don't want to give the award to him 5 times in a row, but it's basically the best player on the top 2 seeds in either conference, and usually it's the top 2 seeds in the better conference, which is usually the West. So the award is really muddled. It's it has its own sort of criteria. It's it's not really most valuable player. It's most valuable player on a top 2 team that hasn't won it, or that the narrative as well fits into it so much. So much of, especially like in 2016, 2017, James Harden versus Russell Westbrook. So much of that was like the guy who chucks and turns the ball over versus the guy who stat pads for triple doubles, and both sides of the argument were going at each other all year.
And it came down to narrative as well too. With the
it always does. Usually
with the triple double narrative and all of that. But I mean, Curry's in a good position. I mean, the Warriors are currently the best record,
and he's clearly the best player on the team. Like not even really close. There's no Clay. There's no Durant, and Draymond isn't what he was in 2016.
Right.
He's very clearly the best player on the team, and his supporting cast is sort of like really just deep. They're not star-studded or anything. They're just deep, and they play well together, and that's because of Steph and Curry, who is when do you see Curry falling off? He's 33 right now, and he's averaging 28 a game. He's attempting 13 threes a game, which is a career high, and he's shooting 40% from 3 right now, which is absurd.
I think he can very much have I'm trying to draw a comparison, because once he's done being Steph Curry, I think he can very much have like I'm trying to pull.
I was going to say Nash on the Lakers, sort of progressing into that.
It's possible.
Like Nash was a bit of a late bloomer. His career based on, not exactly athleticism, but he was known for his shot and his playmaking savvy and sort of being the engine that drove the 7 seconds or less Suns. And then when he got to the Lakers, he sort of was that, but like cut in half. I'm going to
compare his career to another Suns player. To where I think once he's done being Steph Curry, I think he can have a Chris Paul-like impact on teams. To where he gets to the twilight of his career, 36, 37 and all that, just with, his leadership, passing, shooting, all of that. I think once he's done, I mean, I don't know if he's a Warriors lifer or if he'll end up probably.
They will give him any amount of money he wants until he's 50. There's a 0% chance that he leaves the Warriors. There's no chance. No, even if they're shit again and he's still putting up like 25 a game, he would rather stay with the Warriors. There's no doubt in my mind that he is a Warriors lifer.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I think he could have a good Chris Paul like career. Do you know like what Chris Paul did on the Rockets and what he did on the Thunder and what he did on the Suns, what he's doing on the Suns currently?
Yeah.
But I mean, if he never leaves the Warriors, I mean, it's not going to happen. But
who might be a Warriors lifer is Draymond Green.
Probably.
They're due to pay him pretty soon, and I could see a world where he goes to free agency and comes back a Laker or something, or goes to you don't see that LeBron and
I would not want. I don't think that would
clutch
work.
Boys.
Yeah, they are clutch guys. Yeah.
Yeah, and or going to some competitive team. I could see Draymond Green loving the Heat. I could see Pat Riley and Jimmy Butler putting a hook into him and reeling him into the Heat to be the new Udonis Haslem. basically, where he's just going to yell at people.
I could see him going to Portland because I think him and Dame are buddies.
Really?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Is Dame clutch now or no?
Dame is not.
Not clutch? Okay.
No.
I didn't think so, but you never know these days.
Yeah, exactly. But all right, moving on to my second topic of the day. This is a fun one right here. The Rudy Gobert and Miles Turner fight.
Oh, God.
I use that term very loosely. So Miles Turner and Rudy Gobert got tangled up, and they kind of ended up on the ground, and they got up, and Rudy kind of rushed at Miles Turner, and I thought somebody was going to swing or, do anything, and they just kind of ended up, like, hugging each other.
An NBA fight.
Yeah, an NBA fight. And Rudy Gobert tweeted, he was like, I need guys to stop acting like they're going to fight out there on the court, to where, like, he had the chance to swing on Miles Turner right there. So, like, I don't know exactly what
well, him included, probably. Like, we talked about that in the last episode with Jokic and Morris. Mm-hmm. And it's like, most NBA players are not about that life. And especially because you think about it, they're not just, like, guys at the rec that work at JCPenney or whatever on the weekends. They're millionaires. Rudy Gobert is worth over $300 million. And so he's not gonna risk any of that or risk his physical health because he doesn't like Miles Turner in a basketball game. Most players are like that, unless you bring in like Deshaun Stevenson and just be like an animal and just attack someone. They're multi-millionaires.
I'm trying to think of the last fight we actually saw in the NBA, like punches actually thrown
and connecting.
Chris Paul and Rondo.
When was that?
It was the Lakers played. It was LeBron's first season in LA. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't remember that at all.
So they exchanged words, and Rondo kind of like spit on Chris Paul, and Chris Paul like went to kind of like shove him, like kind of poked him in the eye, and Rondo hit him, and then Brandon Ingram ran into, and I'm pretty sure he punched Chris Paul in the face too. So that was the last one that like. You're going to have to look that up because it was LeBron's first season.
I don't remember that at all. But, I mean, there's a reason like Malice at the Palace was so crazy because not only were they beating up each other, actually, they were beating up fans.
Yeah, exactly. But
have you seen that? You seen that documentary on Netflix?
Yeah, it was really good.
I have not. Really, it was good.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah,
I heard it was biased. Is that true? Towards like protecting the players, kind of, or no?
It was, but I think, guys like, Ron Artest and Jermaine O'Neal and Deshaun Jackson just kind of had their names like dragged, after that. And there's some stuff to where, I mean, I definitely did kind of feel for them on a lot of the stuff that they were saying, and it's worth a watch. But basically, like what I was trying to say was just like, there's like a little bit of an increased this is going on in the league more this season than I feel like.
I love it.
The season before.
I love it.
But like what is the point? Because I mean, you're just gonna argue, you're gonna push each other a little bit, and nothing's ever really gonna happen.
It's animosity, which is great. I think there is something. I don't want to get into the old head sort of like, oh, the league today is soft, and I liked it better when the players hated each other and they weren't like texting or whatever.
Right.
But like it is kind of a point. I imagine in the 80s, if you were a Lakers fan, you genuinely didn't like Larry Bird. You probably thought he was a hick, dirty player, whatever. And you didn't like Boston fans either. And if you were a Boston fan, you didn't like Magic. You didn't like how he showboated. You didn't like how flashy he was. You probably thought he was like, below Bird or something. And Isaiah Thomas and Magic Johnson, when they met in the finals, they were kind of brothers and they didn't like each other.
Yeah.
They had a falling out, and you could see it. You could see it on the court when two players don't like each other and they want to rip each other's heads off and like in game, so to speak, like dunking each other and scoring each other. It's better than when I see two clutch guys, joke around or whatever after the game or call each other in the parking lot or whatever. I think there is something to it. I want to see some animosity. I want to see some guys care. It is cool because it's like 12 games into the season and they're already, they're acting like it's games on the line or whatever.
It's definitely good for people wanting to watch because I know people are going to tune in to, like the Heat and the Nuggets the next time they play just to see what might happen between that. But we'll see if it keeps up because, like I said, I just feel like more than any season before, this
I
has
think
been
it's a
happening.
one-off. I think
Yeah.
it's, there's no reason for people to just get up and get angry. And I think it's,
Exactly.
there's probably not going to be a whole lot more of it consistently, at least. I think it's just a coincidence that they happened
Right.
in this week. But
Because
I like it.
Adam Silver will throw his fines and all that
Yeah.
stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. But what you got for your last topic here?
Yeah. So we mentioned how the Clippers are fine, looking good. The Nets also looking very good. Winners of 3 in a row. They started off on a really rocky start, but they are now 10-4, most wins in the East, behind the 9-3 Wizards.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but Harden, people were worried that the new foul rule would affect him.
He's figured it out.
Well, like he always does, he starts the season slow, probably because he comes into training camp late or whatever, and has his own thing. But he plays his way into shape, and he's gotten there at this point.
Right.
The Nets have molded really well around each other. LaMarcus Aldridge is pretty good.
The Patty Mills signing is looking like one of the best of
Patty Mills
the entire offseason. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously the engine that drives them is Kevin fucking Durant, who is 33.
The best player in the NBA right now.
Yeah,
like
I mean he's average. You want to hear what he's averaging? He's averaging 29 a game on 59% from the field.
It's unreal.
59%. He's shooting 43% from three, 59% from the field. It's fucking ludicrous.
Are we gonna get a 60-40-90 club?
Maybe. It's nuts. I know it's a small sample size. I know he's only played 13 games, but he has been a monster. And this is after an Achilles injury 2 years ago that most people thought, his career's done, his career's over.
They thought it was going to have like the Kobe Bryant effect on him to where, his best basketball was behind him, but
no one can guard him. No. And it's not like they could guard him before, but now they don't even try. Like you're just seeing teams put smaller guards on Kevin Durant because it's not like they're going to block him because he can shoot over everyone. They can just keep with him to like slow his dribble. So he can't, so it forces him to shoot instead of driving to the basket and just getting in there. And that's all you can really do. There's nothing you can do to stop him. So they throw these little guards at him to try to slow him down. And it might slow him down a little bit, but there is no stopping Kevin Durant. There's nothing close to it.
When it comes to who the best player in the NBA is, it's very much Kevin Durant and everybody else.
Yeah.
I think he is for the first time in his
Giannis
career.
said as much.
Yeah. For the first time in his career, I think he is the clear number one guy in the league.
I agree. I think there was an argument in 2017 where he won Finals MVP and he said like, "Oh, they passed the torch from LeBron, but LeBron was the better player."
Still the best player.
I think right now it's almost. I mean, there's a debate, but right now it's head and shoulders. He's head and shoulders above.
No, for sure.
LeBron and Giannis.
It's KD and everybody else.
Yeah,
I think
he's insane. I mean, he's insane.
And even Wardell having the season that he is, I would still say that KD is a better basketball player out there.
He's been more efficient and he's been scoring more. He's been a better scorer this season. He's also the most consistent player in the NBA. Curry will have those off nights for the most part. He'll have those nights where it's ugly shots, or he'll turn the ball over, or he'll get targeted on defense. It happens every now and then. Except for very rare instances, Durant's off night is like 24.
Yeah.
on
exactly.
like 40% shooting or something instead of 50 or I guess 59% shooting. So it's the consistency that he just shows up like it's a 9-to-5 job and just puts up 30 or 35. Another thing that he does, he is the quietest 30 a game ever.
Right.
Like he'll give you 7 a quarter and then like a 9-point quarter, and that's 30 points. Like,
because he had a 30-point game where he shot what was it, like 11 for 12?
Yeah,
that's fucking crazy.
And it's just like if he could just chuck every possession, and he could average like 40 or something if he really wanted to be inefficient or not get guys involved or whatever. But like, fuck, man, I don't want to. If Kyrie comes back, I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't want to see what
have
happens.
anything to do with this team in the playoffs at all. It's scary how well he's playing. He's playing like statistically one of the greatest scoring seasons so far. He's off to the best start of Like this is Jordan levels of efficiency, with slightly less volume, but it's no, nothing to gloss over how fucking good Kevin Durant is playing right now, because he's playing the best ball of his career for the most part.
Yeah, I would say so. It's better than his MVP season.
Yeah,
and better than
different role, of
probably
course,
those years in Golden State for sure.
Yeah. But he's insane, and that's it's worth mentioning.
Yeah, Kevin Durant is good at basketball. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Moving on to for my last 3-pointer here, a team that has also kind of figured it out that nobody's really talking about. The Phoenix Suns are 9-3 after just beating Houston today. I mean, like, that's clearly not too much to brag about. But all the other games that I've watched them,
8 in a row.
Like I said, they're 9-3.
Yeah,
8 in a row. And the reason that nobody's really talking about it is because everybody's going out there and playing exactly like you'd expect them to. Chris Paul
is kind of boring. Yeah,
exactly. It's gotten to the point where they're so.
It's expected.
This team is so good, and we knew it, and it's expected.
Yeah.
But some other guys are playing really well too. I mean, Cameron Payne,
JaVale McGee.
JaVale McGee,
JaVale McGee had a stat line tonight where in a win, I think he had 19 and 14 off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Like
exactly.
Pretty fucking solid.
Frank Kaminsky the other night had like 8 points. Where like Frank Kaminsky's out there playing good. Yeah, Frank Kaminsky's playing great. Cameron Payne,
the tank,
Cam Johnson, all these guys, and nobody's really talking about it. I mean, you would think that Landry Shamet, you would think that 8 in a row it would be making some noise, but it was a very quiet 8 in a row. And
I would love to see them play the Warriors. Would love to see that matchup. Curry versus Chris Paul, but the rest of the team from 1 to 10 or 9 or whatever the rotation is that Monty Williams decides to go with. But yeah, again, they're pretty boring. I haven't caught many Suns games this year. I think I'm not alone. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just West Coast schedule, but like, I definitely got to tune into some Suns games, and I think everyone listening to this should, because you might just see them in the finals again. You look at how the West is, and I wouldn't call the West strong right now.
They're strong at the top for sure.
I'd say the Warriors are, if we want to talk about the Warriors for a quick second, I think they're vulnerable. I think their lack of skilled big men will hurt them on the boards. If they face a team that has really good big men, they could get exposed. And I hate to be that guy, but it's just true. They haven't had the hardest schedule yet. They've played a lot of bad teams.
Yeah, I mean, and then they got the Bulls without
Vucevic
or Patrick Williams
or Kobe White.
Yeah, exactly. So
and that's Bulls are like one of the best teams they've played.
Right.
So
and they blew them out. And I don't know.
Oh yeah, they killed them. Yeah, no, they earned every part of that win. Curry went off. I mean, Curry's amazing. He's gonna buy them so many wins. Yeah. But the Suns might as well just be the best team in the conference.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's what I was saying is I would love to see that in, either the second round or, Western Conference Finals even, because Chris Paul, because I've compared this Suns team to the 2018 Rockets team that won 65 games, I believe.
Around there, yeah.
Because Chris Paul is Chris Paul. Devin Booker very much plays the James Harden role of that, just scoring, shooting guard, all of that. Mikal Bridges is better than what Trevor Ariza was at that time. Jay Crowder is better than what PJ Tucker was at that time. And
what PJ Tucker did for those Rockets teams shouldn't be understated. He played like 36 minutes a game and was their center at some times, where he could guard anyone on the floor. And he I think there was that season he shot 61% from the corner. Just the corner.
That was the most efficient shot in the league, I think, that year
in basketball. And I don't think Jay Crowder's quite on that level on either side of the ball, but I see where you're coming from.
Yeah,
I'll defend PJ Tucker.
And then Aiden's pretty similar to Capella, the way that they play. That they're both solid on defense and lob threats and all that. And then the team is deeper than that 2018 Rockets team.
They are deeper. That is true.
That team had Eric Gordon off the bench, and
he was solid.
Not a whole lot other than that. I think Gerald Green came off the bench. And,
Gerald Green. I'm trying to think. How fast did that team fall
Austin
apart?
Rivers.
Yeah, who was solid.
But I mean,
but they
the
have
Suns
more depth,
team
1 through 5.
Cameron Payne, Cam Johnson, Landry Shamet, JaVale McGee is one of the better backup bigs in the league right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, this Suns team is quietly very good and could still end up being the 1 seed in the West. And I think that was
100%.
where I predicted them as well too. But yeah, I mean that's all I have to say about them, and I think they're going to keep this up, and I think they're going to be a dangerous team. And like you said, we very much might see them in the finals again.
Could very well happen. Just a few things. So cleaning up big three or the 3 points a little bit. Evan Mobley is in the lead for Rookie of the Year contention.
Yeah.
He's one of the best defensive rookies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Maybe the best. I'm trying to think.
He just doesn't make any mistakes on that end of the floor out there.
He's just an animal. Like, he looks like Anthony Davis on defense. He's long, lengthy. He's 7-footer. He's pretty light, but he doesn't get thrown around. Wingspan is nuts. I mean, he's just so much fun to watch, and he's a very big reason why the Cavs aren't already dead, which usually by this point they usually are.
Yeah, but they're good. They have a good record, and he's been a big part of that.
Celtics.
Did you see the chase down block he had on Jason Tatum?
Yeah. And they beat them by scoring like 71 points or something like that. Like, they slowed the game down to like 2000s Pistons levels of slow and bad offensively. But
I saw that block on that chase down block on Tatum, and I was like, kind of reminds me of somebody I once knew in Cleveland.
Yeah, don't tell Iguodala.
No,
but
no, for sure.
Yeah.
But no, Evan Mobley has been. I mean, he's my Rookie of the Year. I mean, I'll listen to the Scotty Barnes argument as well too, but
I won't.
No. Interesting.
I just like Mobley that much better. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I really, really love Evan Mobley, and I think that he very much has potential to be a multiple-time Defensive Player of the Year, like
All-Star in his second season.
Like, yeah, exactly. Dwight Howard, Joel Embiid levels of defense out there.
Yeah, I see him as like an Anthony Davis.
Yeah. I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, their games are very similar on both sides of the ball. Because he's not quite a center yet. He plays the 4 for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's just because Jared Allen is there, but he's more of a 4 than a 5, even though he is 7 foot.
Which I wasn't sure that was even going to work. Like, I was concerned about I was concerned about that, because his shot wasn't that consistent in college.
No, it wasn't. And from three, he doesn't shoot threes. So
that's what I was a little, because I mean Jared Allen doesn't space the floor. I mean, he's a very traditional back to the basket, big guy. And I thought there was potential of, the spacing being an issue, like I said, Mobley's shot wasn't falling in college the way that it is now, but he's got a nice little mid-range on him. And the 3 has been fine. He doesn't shoot that many. He doesn't take that many attempts in a game, but it's looking better than it did in college. And it's clear Evan Mobley is the best rookie in the NBA right now.
Yeah. And then I had one more thing. Alex, can you tell me right now, without cheating, and you may have seen my sheet, but I don't know, who is the 6th highest paid salary on the Lakers right now?
So I already knew this because I saw your text that you sent me earlier on there, but it is Luol Deng for anybody that was wondering. That is going to haunt Lakers fans for such a long time. What is he getting paid this year?
I think it's close to 5.5 or 6 mil.
And I mean that wouldn't be a big deal.
They stretched it, right? They stretched it.
Yeah, they stretched it.
So that's a stretch provision right there, because Mozgov was signed at the same time, and who the fuck knows what happened to him? But
I think he is playing in Russia. Maybe
he's definitely not playing here. That's all I know.
Definitely not playing here. Yeah, but that Luol Deng one, that is going to he is. How long has he been on their books? I think since
2015, when Mitch Kupchak paid him all that money 1 second into free agency, which sort of ties into our next topic, doesn't it?
Oof, yeah, no, it definitely does. So getting into our last topic. So our Chicago Bulls and the Miami Heat are in a little bit of trouble.
The victims of a witch hunt.
Yeah.
I won't stand for it. That's why I'm sitting down right now. It's despicable.
Right. So the NBA is currently investigating the Lonzo Ball sign and trade, and the Kyle Lowry. I don't remember. I don't believe it was a sign and trade, but they signed him like.
No, it was.
Okay,
They
yeah,
got
no.
the Raptors got, I think, Precious Achua out
Oh
of
yeah,
it.
they got and Goran Dragic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those two sign and trades. So the NBA is investigating those. So we're just going to give you a brief history on the NBA kind of cracking down on this stuff.
The investigation has been going on with the Bulls and Raptors. It's been going, and the Heat, I guess. It's been going on since pretty much they got signed. Someone snitched.
Like
probably David.
Now. So the NBA have tried to get a little more strict recently when it comes to the tampering, and I'm going to bring it back to in 2017. This was kind of their first one of, at least that I remember, one of their first instances of getting strict about this stuff. They fined the Lakers $500,000 for Rob Pelinka reaching out to Paul George while he was still under contract. And the Lakers got in trouble again the next year. And this one was a little bit, and then this kind of is part of this topic as well too. Is like, what do we consider tampering at this point? Because they fined Magic Johnson $50,000 for saying that Giannis was a great player, comparing Giannis to himself, and saying that he'd win a championship one day.
Yeah.
So all of those things were true, and I don't know, like there's kind of this gray area to where what do we consider tampering, because I can't imagine going out and tweeting that Giannis is a good player and then I'm bankrupt like the next day.
Well, Magic Johnson bankrupt.
Well,
like,
yeah, no,
like that. It was such an issue that it did spawn the whole meme about literally any player fine in the NBA. You also just slap a fine on Magic Johnson.
Right.
Yeah, tampering's funny because for those who follow NBA free agency at all, you should know just by virtue of deals getting done the second that free agency opens.
Well,
and it's many deals that happen that every team in the NBA tampers, and the fact that the Bulls and the Heat have been singled out in this investigation that is apparently in advanced investigation mode now, according to some reporters.
My question is just
witch hunt.
My question is just, how do you prevent this from happening?
How do you enforce it?
How do you enforce it? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
if Magic Johnson can't even tweet that Giannis is a good player without that being considered tampering, like what can you do? And so I definitely do think the Bulls and the Heat kind of messed up about this, and I'm a little scared, and I'll explain that in a second. So if you guys didn't know, so the Lonzo deal, when that happened, it was a sign and trade, and that happened, I believe, like a minute into free agency.
Like we
got the Shams report, and it was just, and it's not like it was just a straight up deal for Lonzo and another player. It was a sign and trade, including Tomas Satoransky, Garrett Temple, and a second round pick, to where I don't think in the span of 1 minute, AK called David Griffin and said, "Okay, I'm going to do Lonzo for whoever." Like that was probably a multiple day negotiation, and not something, because even, I mean, you know this too, anyone that follows NBA free agency and stuff, you hear the reports like 2 days before. Like it was pretty clear before free agency even started that Lonzo was going to be a Bull and that Kyle Lowry was going to be a member of the Miami Heat. And then whenever it finally happened, we were just like, oh, okay, and then the fact that those deals were done so quick, same thing with Kyle Lowry. His was a sign and trade, including multiple players. So multiple parties had to have been contacted, between both front offices, agents, players, all of that stuff, to where you kind of have to play that a little smarter, guys. Like,
I guess. I mean, we just talked about Timofey Mozgov and Lil Deng getting signed. They were signed at like 12:01 as well. They were signed immediately, and that's not how negotiations work. There's no way Mitch Kuchek waited till midnight and then called him and they accepted the deal and had it signed and into the media within a minute of the fucking deadline. And nothing happened to them, not probably just because those two deals were generationally bad. But it's like
those were a punishment on their own.
How it's like getting to, like, if they punish the Bulls or the Heat for this, first of all, I'm wondering why the Pelicans and the Raptors don't also get punished. They were part of the
trade. Yeah, they were part of this too. Yeah, exactly.
You can't trade with nobody. Like, it was a sided trade. If we're tampering, then so are the fucking Pelicans. So that doesn't make any. I haven't heard Masai's name. I've heard Masai's name. I think I haven't heard the Pelicans linked to tampering violations at all.
I think it was because the Bulls and the Heat won those trades. That they were kind of just like, we won't make the Pelicans give up draft picks.
And that goes to the thing though, like, so they better not pull an NFL where the NFL just makes up these dumb rules and then they enforce them however they see fit, and there's no consistency with how it's enforced.
Right.
Because, like, why would you punish two teams that are contending basically and are going for it and are exciting?
Yeah, right.
And just taking away picks or finding them, like, why the fuck? Why would that be in the NBA's best interest? Especially because if they so this investigation's been going on for like 4 months, and apparently now it's in advanced stages or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck that means. But they could investigate any team in the NBA in the past 5 years, and they could find every tampering violation on the book.
So this is what my fear is about this entire situation. So with them saying that this is in advanced stages of this investigation, they have explained what that means. They said this could result in suspensions of front office people, which doesn't affect me, fines, which also I don't care about.
Yeah.
The one that I do worry about is the loss of draft picks. Because
that's always been on the table, I think, ever since it was reported. Ever since it was reported that they were getting investigated, I think the fear was taking away draft picks because, it's that's like probably in the rule book or somewhere. I'm not going to read the NBA rule book, but there's, it's
the reason I'm worried. The reason I'm worried in this particular case, though, is because I think this could be, because this has become such a big story and it's been a deal for the last 3-4 months. I think that this could be the NBA's way of,
setting an
example and like making a statement and, really hitting the Bulls and the Heat like pretty hard with, missing draft picks and all that stuff just to make an example. And
I still don't even think that would work, because if they hammer the Bulls and the Heat, two teams that didn't get away with it, there's going to be 28 other teams that get away with it. And I'd rather jump on a free agent and risk it, knowing that I can get him without any, he's not going to get courted by any other team. He's not going to go anywhere else. If I have him right when the thing opens, I'd rather risk that, because there's been more precedents of teams getting away with tampering than there have teams getting caught with tampering.
Yeah.
Even if they lay down the law and strip 2 picks and hefty fine, if that even exists for owners, I don't know, probably not.
Right.
And suspension of front office people, it also doesn't seem very Adam Silver. That's something that David Stern would probably want to do, because he fucked the Wolves up pretty bad for the Joe Smith thing.
For people that might not know, so in the year 2000, the Timberwolves paid former number 1 overall pick and the most generic NBA name ever, Joe Smith. They paid him under the table because free agency came and they got him on a really cheap deal, and everyone was like, oh, this seems kind of weird. He could have got more money elsewhere, but they paid him on the table in order to not have a lot of money on their books and to be able to make other free agency moves. And Kevin McHale, who was in the T-Wolves front office at that time, he got caught, and he even said himself, he was just like, well, other people do this too. Like, we're not the only ones. And the Timberwolves, for 4 years of Kevin Garnett's prime, had to give up 4 first-round picks. And there was a period too,
they got
to where
decimated,
and there was a period
it caused irreparable damage to the franchise. Like, they might not be total dog shit right now if it wasn't for them paying Joe Smith under the table, and then Kevin McHale getting bent over a barrel by the Celtics, who he has a boner for, when they traded KG to the Celtics. But I digress.
Exactly, and then what I was gonna say too is there was a period too to where their front office got frozen too, to where they couldn't make any moves. Yeah. And that was detrimental to the franchise because they could not build around their star, Kevin Garnett. They had no draft picks. They couldn't make trades. They couldn't. It's pretty hard to make trades with no draft picks too. So they were getting guys in like Sam Cassell and like way past his prime Latrell Sprewell. And then those were the kind of moves that they had to settle for. They didn't have, the draft capital or anything to be able to build around.
But I bring that up. My point being is that was very much a David Stern move. David Stern was a commissioner who did a lot of great things, including building the NBA up, but he ruled very much with an iron fist. He was very rigid with the rules. He was very no nonsense. He ruled it like Stalin. And Adam Silver is definitely more lenient, I think.
Oh, for sure.
I don't think it's I don't think he would want to just fuck a team up, and the Bulls and the Heat would get if they had their draft pick stripped because they've already traded away some picks.
Oh yeah.
I think it does more harm than good, and I think Adam Silver knows this. Would David Stern fuck these teams up? Probably, but is Adam Silver going to? I don't think so, but that's just me. I don't know anything about the investigation. I'm not a reporter. I'm not an insider. Who knows? But I don't think he's going to go for it. I think there might be a fine, but that would mean that they found something and didn't deem it, worthy of taking away a pick, which is a weird middle ground. But who knows?
Exactly. And like the closing point of this is like, does the NBA have a tampering problem? Probably. But
is it a problem though?
Exactly. And then the other thing is, what are you going to do about it? Because if you're going to punish because like you said, there's no consistency to where they're punishing the Bulls and the Heat, but it takes two to tango. You have to punish the Raptors and you have to punish the Pelicans, the teams that were involved in these trades too. Because if the Bulls were tampering, then so were the Pelicans. And to where, like I said, I think the Bulls and the Heat are just being punished for winning the trades.
Yeah.
But there's no consistency, and maybe there is a tampering problem, but there's nothing really that the league can do about it.
The punishment should be the Bulls get Pat Riley and Masai Ujiri front office. That should be the punishment.
Deal.
And then give David Griffin to the Raptors or the Heat. Have Jackson Hayes have Zion's family run the Pelicans.
I have LeVar Ball run the Bulls. Let's do it.
Yeah. Let's get all the Ball brothers in Chicago. But yeah.
I love it.
So that was our main topic. Moving on to the last segment of the show. This one's quick because we don't have a lot to talk about. It's the second iteration of the College Corner.
We're back
into
the
College Corner. I have two things to talk about, and both happened this weekend for the most part.
Yeah.
So Gonzaga played, and they played Texas, and boy, did they play well because they look scary. Even though it was a home game, it wasn't a tournament like I previously thought. They were in Spokane, and Drew Timme was the best player by far on the court, had 37.
Yeah, no, he looks great. Yeah.
Animal looks like he should have went to the NBA. And then Texas, like we said, looks like they could use some time to mold, but they'll be a solid team. They'll finish in the top 15 at the very least at the end of the season.
And I think this very much just shows the gap between Gonzaga and Texas was ranked 5. And maybe they're not the 5th best team in college basketball, but like you said, they're nowhere out of the top 10 or 15.
No, and they have a bunch of transfers, and I think they'll get better than they are right now,
And I think, like you said, like I was saying, this is just showing the gap of how good Gonzaga is, and they should be the clear favorites to, go back to the finals.
We say this every year, though. That's the other thing. Yeah. We say it every year where they get into that rut where they beat down Pacific and then Pepperdine and then BYU and then San Diego, and they win by 50 every time, and then they go into the tournament, and they usually go far, but there might be something to it if they're this much of a bugaboo.
Have they ever won it?
No, I don't think Gonzaga has ever won the Natty. Outside of Mark Few, I don't think they've ever been nationally relevant. Mark Few started coaching the team in, I think, 91, 92. Been there a long time, 30 years. And since then, he's sort of been building them up from a mid-major of Spokane of basically nothing to the premier powerhouse in the NCAA.
Were they not relevant with John Stockton? We weren't born, so I'm not entirely sure what they were at that point.
I think. No, they might have. No, they weren't the powerhouse they are today. Definitely not.
And then what about the Adam Morrison years too?
Yeah, that was Mark Few. That was they lost to that really good UCLA team with Darren Collison. What's that guy's name? Ryan, terrible NBA analyst. Ryan Hollins was on that team.
Yeah.
Jordan Farmar was on that team. And Luke Mabamute was on that team. Four NBA players.
Really?
Huh. 4 NBA players had to take down Adam Morrison, and that Adam Morrison team was really damn good because Adam Morrison was really damn good.
Oh, yeah.
But speaking about UCLA as well, a lot of talk about them they were the clear favorite pick for people to call them overrated.
Yeah.
People wanted to call them overrated so bad. I think I might have called them overrated last podcast. I thought they were because they're more or less the same team last year, but they took Nova to overtime and beat them. They were home.
I have something I want to say about that game because I watched the UCLA and Villanova game. I was up pretty late watching that. I think it ran until 1
It was start tipped off at I think 10:04 Central Time. So.
Yeah. So I was up very late watching that, but that game was great. It went into overtime, and honestly, and Villanova looks really good too.
Yeah, of course I had the Villanova spread +5, and they go to OT and fucking lose by like 9, but whatever.
I'd be sick. But they have a very special trio there in UCLA between Tiger Campbell, which I'm old enough to remember when he was committed to DePaul. Wah. But Johnny Juzang, who is a special player as well too, and my favorite college basketball player, bias, Jaime Jaquez.
Love him. Yeah.
Yeah, no bias though, of course. But and then speaking of Jaquez in particular, the motor on that kid is unreal. His motor is like compared to anybody else in college basketball, like I think it's one of the best, and there's real potential for him, I think, to be Pac-12 Player of the Year.
Oh wow, you think so? Jaquez over even Juzang and over anyone else on UCLA, really?
Yeah, I think he is no bias, of course. I think he is the best wing currently in college basketball.
Wow.
Yeah, in the Pac-12 for sure. I think he's the best wing.
Yeah, in Pac-12 for sure. College basketball, he's got a case in college basketball, all of college basketball as well. I'm trying to think of other wings that I like Gillespie a lot still.
I do like Gillespie,
and it also depends on what you call a wing in college because like anyone could be a wing,
right?
But yeah, no, I love Jaime Jaquez as well. No complaints there. And then so moving on from that to finish up College Corner, there is a game this week that you should probably be tuning in for. Decent game, nothing crazy or anything. But Seton Hall has been playing pretty well, and they play Michigan.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one.
Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. And that game could have some implications because Seton Hall could very much make some noise, not only in the Big East, but in college basketball in Michigan with Hunter Dickinson and Caleb Houston, 2 big-time players, as well as Juwan Howard and all the guys that he brings in. I'm expecting a Michigan win. But
I wouldn't be surprised if Seton Hall pulls it out.
Than people think. Yeah, they beat down Yale by I think 40 today. So
who, Seton Hall?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Because I mean, we've just being our school being in the Big East, we've watched a ton of Seton Hall basketball, and I think I'm not 100% sure what is left on that team to where, I mean, the Seton Hall that I remember is like Miles Powell, Mamu, guys like that, and I don't know what is
Angel Delgado.
Yeah, but I'm not sure what is left on that team of that because I like
Kevin Willard. He's a good coach.
Kevin Willard,
I like Kevin Willard as a coach. His head is too shiny. Like you shouldn't be allowed to be that bald, especially if you're on the sideline of a NCAA game with like light reflecting off of it.
Oh, 100%.
Like I'm pretty sure Kevin Mack isn't that bald. Mick Cronin's definitely not that bald. So it's like there's a standard that Kevin Willard should have to abide by because it's fucking distracting. You look at that guy and it's just like he's like he shines it, he buffs it. It's insane.
Yeah, that is a bald head, and I really want to smack it. No lie.
That is a bald fucking head right there.
100%. But Seton Hall is always they play a very old school Big East style.
No blood, no foul.
Yeah, exactly, and they're always going to give a team a fight. And
they got the New Jersey grit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because I mean, guys, Miles Powell was a New Jersey guy, and stuff like that. So they're very much known for that. I mean, it's a team they've been good in the Big East for some time now, and I think it's going to be closer than people might think, because some people that don't pay as much attention to Big East basketball might just not know about Seton Hall that much, and they think it's just going to be a beatdown or whatever. But I would not. Oh yeah, that's one thing that we can mention too. Is this week is the beginning with that game especially is the beginning of the Gavitt tip-off games. So the Big East and the Big Ten, their challenge and their games moving on. And what are those? Because all of those games are games to watch, and I'm trying to see what.
I know DePaul doesn't play because they're ass. Is it
No,
Big
yeah,
Ten or is
they
it
do.
Big 12? They do play.
Yeah.
Who do they play?
They're playing Rutgers on Thursday.
Oh, they do play Rutgers. I'm going to that game, I think. But
oh wait, it's in Chicago.
Yeah, and it's $2 beer night. So
okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah,
that'll get the fans out there. So Monday.
You'd think.
Yeah. So starting tomorrow, here are the games. We have Providence at Wisconsin, which could be a good game.
It's interesting because I think both of those coaches are on the hot seat.
Yeah.
I think Cooley, his rep is sort of running out, and Greg Gard has had like 3 insurrections in his time in the past like 2 years. So I have no idea what Wisconsin has left, and Providence has some good players, and I think Nate Watson's still there.
And then the other game tomorrow night is Illinois at Marquette, which I'm expecting a little bit of a beat down there. Marquette is not.
They transferred everyone away. Theo John left. Garcia left. I'm pretty sure. McEwen might have left. I'm not sure, but Shaka Smart's a great coach, and I think he'll do well in Marquette. But Illinois has Andre Curbelo. They have Kofi Coburn, and that's pretty much all you need to beat Marquette, I'd say. So I agree.
I'm expecting a bit of a beatdown on that one too. Seton Hall, Michigan. I still do have Michigan winning that, but I think it's going to be a closer game.
Take Michigan there. I think there's too much talent.
People expect Creighton at Nebraska, which should be a really good one because a lot of people know of Big East schools, but I think a lot of people don't know where they are.
Creighton's going to fuck them up.
Yeah, Creighton's
Nebraska sucked. Nebraska just lost to somebody really, really bad. I'm going to look this up. I want to say, Western Illinois. They lost to Western Illinois.
That's embarrassing.
They're ass. And Fred Hoiberg coaches Nebraska. So Fred Hoiberg versus Mr. Plantation Man. Sean McDermott.
Yeah.
So
that was a bad
he
comment.
stays away from weird analogies about keeping your feet on plantations or whatever the fuck he said. I'm taking Creighton in like a blowout, and I think the spread's going to be enormous anyways. So
I think that the crowds for that is going to be insane though, because a lot of people don't know. So Creighton.
Where is it? Omaha or Lincoln?
It's in Lincoln. So
okay,
it's at Nebraska. But I think the crowd's going to be pretty insane.
Well, in-state rivalry there, yeah.
Exactly. So that'll be nice to watch. I'm glad that they set it up that way. Michigan State at Butler.
I don't know anything about Butler this year at all.
I
think Michigan State's a good team.
Yeah, Michigan State will win that. And then St. John's in Indiana. St. John's is actually could be a tournament team this year as well too.
Yeah,
they're
Anderson,
pretty solid.
Big East Coach of the Year. Returning Champagny, right?
Yep.
Julian Champagny.
Yep.
And Alexander, I believe, as well. So
that should be a good one. I think I have St. John's in that one. And then
who did you say they play?
St. John's at Indiana.
Indiana has the best player in that game though, with Trace Jackson Davis. He was supposed to be like a lottery pick almost, and he stayed. He's going to be contending for Big Ten Player of the Year. He's a monster, but Indiana I don't believe in. But Mike Woodson, new debut coaching of Mike Woodson, so we'll see what happens with that. It might be a telling game.
And then for the Thursday night slate for the Gavitt tip-off games, another in-state game right here, Ohio State at Xavier.
Oh, interesting.
Which Xavier
usually you think the rivalry with Xavier is Cincy because they hate each other's guts. But Ohio State brought back EJ Liddell, I believe, and they brought in, I think they got a 5-star recruit whose name eludes me right now. They should have another good team. Who's their coach there? Holtman, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he impressed me in the not the NCAA tournament, but the Big Ten tournament and Big Ten's play. He impressed me a little bit. I don't know anything about Xavier, although they have Paul Scruggs, who I think is a fifth year at this point, who should be one of the better players on the court. He's going to be battling
for sure.
He's going to be battling with Liddell, so that'll be a good player-to-player matchup. But as a game, it's not too interesting.
And Xavier's another team just like Seton Hall, to where they're very scrappy and they play an old school Big East style. They've been a threat. They've been a threat in the conference for years now. So I think that should be a good one. And then Rutgers at DePaul. I
barely care about that game, and I'd go to DePaul. So
I'm clearly rooting for DePaul, and I think it could be a good game. I've watched both of DePaul's games.
I wouldn't be surprised if DePaul lost by like 25. I wouldn't be surprised if DePaul clawed to get like a 3-point win. I don't know what the fuck DePaul is. I don't know what Rutgers is either. Steve Piquel's a scrappy coach, but historically, and when I say historically, I mean the last 2 years that Rutgers been basketball relevant, they're only good at home at the rack. Their record at the rack is immensely better than it is anywhere else in the country. And you'll find some of that in college basketball. Minnesota, historically, at the barn is way better than anywhere else at the barn, to the point where they almost split away in home games. But
hey, DePaul beat them at the barn 2 years ago.
That is true. We took on the Big Ten, but
that'll be a good game, though. I'll be watching that. And you said you're going to be there.
Yeah, Brandon Johnson, transfer from Minnesota. He'll be playing for DePaul, as well as their best player, I think, David Jones.
I think the best player is what's his name?
Ahmad Bynum.
No.
Ungenda.
Javon Freeman Liberty.
Freeman Liberty. Okay, yeah, he's the best scorer.
Yeah, he looks good, and he's taken the ball handling responsibilities too, and I don't think that's going to be the case, because we got the transfer from Oregon, Jalen Terry,
who's not eligible yet.
Stubbs got him in. Yeah, I think he's going to be eligible when the quarter ends in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, but enough about. We're already talking about too much about the worst team in the Big East. So, are there any other matchups or no?
No, that's it for the Gavitt tip-off games, and so it's 10 games throughout or 2, 4, 8 games. So UConn isn't playing.
Yeah, I was going to say UConn's Nova's not playing anyone?
And Villanova's not playing. Interesting.
They're like two best teams in the
That's kind of lame. Yeah, usually they make teams, they like kind of swap it out.
Well, you think they match them up evenly. They should put Nova up against Michigan, and then put UConn up against I don't know.
Because UConn's the second best team in the conference.
Yeah, they should put UConn up against Illinois or something like that.
That would be really good.
Yeah. So whatever, Gavitt games. Yeah. We'll see.
I think
who do you think is going to win the head-to-head, Big East or Big?
I think we split 4-4.
I'd have to go through the games again one by one, but I probably have Big Ten.
I think. Let me see. I think DePaul beats Rutgers, no bias. I think Ohio State beats Xavier.
I think so.
I think St. John's beats Indiana. I think Michigan State. I think Michigan State beats Butler. I think Creighton kicks the shit out of Nebraska.
Yeah.
I think Michigan beats Seton Hall. I think Providence beats Wisconsin, and I think Illinois beats Marquette.
So what is that?
4-4.
4-4. Okay, sure. I'll go 4-4. Why not?
Yeah. Definitely, but those are games that you guys should definitely check out, because just high level basketball this week.
Yeah, a lot of
between
talent.
Those two conferences.
NBA talent as well. Trace Jackson Davis, EJ Liddell, Paul Scruggs. You might see all of those guys in the NBA as soon as next season. So
exactly. I mean, they're two conferences that a lot of people believe are the two best in college basketball, and we get to see them go head to head this week. Yeah.
So that concludes College Corner, I believe.
Yeah, that concludes College Corner.
And that also concludes our episode.
Exactly. So if you guys enjoyed this week's episode, make sure to do all of those YouTube things. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you do not miss another episode. That all goes a very long way in growing the channel. And also comment down below. Let us know what you think. Let us know what are your favorite picks for college basketball this week too.
Drop some fan mail. You have any questions, any topics that we haven't gone over? Because I got there was a comment that said, what do we think about Evan Mobley? And that prompted me to mention Evan Mobley.
Yeah.
Fan mail. We're going to do viewer mail. So if you have questions, you're burning questions, you want anything we'll talk about, drop it down below and we'll probably mention it.
Yeah, we can react to some of your guys' hot takes on here.
Yeah.
That could be good. But yeah, no, that'll be it for this episode, and we will be back. We're back on the regular scheduled programming, and we will be back on Wednesday with another episode to talk about, the NBA games, the college games, all of that. You guys know at this point. So thank you all so much for watching. Alex, signing out.